What's up, friends? Coach Ed here with the first installment of Coach's Corner. I'm a coach. That's a corner. That's how we came up with the name.
All right, let's get a few things out of the way before we start. First off, I'm not in a corner. Deal with it. Second, we put out a lot of information, but I started to notice lately we're giving the bland version of our message. The info is true to our system, but the tone isn't 100%. Part of our culture is based around not taking ourselves too seriously, which I think we've nailed in our content. The part we've been missing is making sure we don't pull any punches. Third, anytime someone challenges your current beliefs, it can be uncomfortable. If you don't approach the new Coach's Corner with an open mind, you might get offended. Hopefully you can take a few minutes each week to put your current fitness beliefs to the side and try to experience a new perspective that can help you make the path to results more efficient and sustainable. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into today's topic. Which is the faster path to sustainable results? An extensive warm-up that allows you to perform your favorite exercise immediately, or swallowing your pride, removing negative input, and systematically progressing towards earning the right to perform an exercise? Stick around for a few minutes and we'll break down both paths. Whether you've been at this fitness thing for years or you just started working out, it's natural to pick favorite exercises. So let's run through both approaches through the lens of one of my favorite exercises, the overhead press. In order for your body to be able to get into the proper position to absorb and adapt to stress, which is still the best justification I've heard for using the functional movement screen, you need to hit the bare minimum for 3 qualities. 1, mobility, 2, motor control, and 3, work capacity. For the sake of today's episode, let's run with these definitions. Mobility is range of motion. Motor control is your ability to appropriately control your range of motion. Work capacity is the amount of work you can do without sacrificing proper alignment and breathing. So if you want to get progressively stronger at the overhead press, you need adequate shoulder mobility, both static and dynamic motor control at the shoulder, and you should have enough positional work capacity. In other words, you need to be able to do enough work overhead without losing movement integrity. Now that you understand what's required, what's the best way to get there? Let's go through both examples I mentioned earlier. The first example involves using an extensive warm-up that allows you to perform the overhead press immediately, but only own it short term. In this case, you may be able to improve your shoulder mobility enough by performing a variety of different positional breathing exercises, using the right thoracic mobility drills, and then working your way up the developmental sequence, progressing from static to dynamic motor control drills for the shoulder. Even if you find the right combination of movements to improve your shoulder mobility, you have only truly addressed 2 of the 3 qualities I mentioned earlier, mobility and motor control. So you've temporarily addressed mobility and you've taught your nervous system to control the new range of motion you acquired. But is it possible to build enough work capacity in one 20-minute warm-up? If you have a lack of shoulder mobility, then you most likely either have not spent enough time recently training overhead, or you've done so with compensation. Either way, your positional work capacity and the vertical pressing pattern will not exactly be the best. Okay, so what the hell does this mean? I bought this kettlebell, so I'll press it if I want to. It's my birthday and I'll cry if I want to. Hissy fit over? Just because you can do a few reps with decent form doesn't mean you'll be able to maintain integrity in your movement for even a few sets, which will make it more likely you'll get hurt. Even if we waved a magic wand and made you indestructible, you still won't perform the movement with proper control if you haven't built enough work capacity overhead. So now let's run through option 2. You believe the weird science witch doctor nonsense I just said, put down your protein shake, and accept that you shouldn't do any overhead work short term. What will your program look like? Assuming you don't have any other movement limitations, your strength workout will be pretty complete. You can do conditioning, ground-based work, carry, throw, squat, hinge, and you can push and pull horizontally. In other words, the only thing we have to cut out is the overhead pushing and pulling. So we can spend the month, or however long it takes, doing a well-rounded strength training program and build up your general work capacity. We can also find 1 or 2 mobility drills that help improve thoracic spine mobility. If we can then slowly repattern motor control in a systematic manner, moving from static to dynamic motor control as we move our way up the developmental sequence, this will help us build enough positional work capacity to maintain this skill over time as opposed to just in the short term. The slow, steady, tortoise option may not be the sexy approach, but it will help keep you safe and make your strength gains more sustainable. You're not a child and I'm not your dad, so I can't ground you, take away your overhead pressing, and tell you that you'll understand when you're older. So you have to decide. Are you willing to do things differently? Are you willing to try a systematic approach to fitness in order to take your results to the next level? To be totally honest with you, I don't really care which option you pick, as long as you have enough information to make an educated decision and you're able to reach your goals. If that happens, I'm happy. Hopefully this new spin on Coach's Corner helped shed some light on how we approach training at Results Driven. Comment below to let us know if you had any aha moments or if you need any further guidance. Check back next week. In the meantime, please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow us on all the social media things. We really appreciate all your feedback and all your attention. See you next week, friends.
That sounds like let's go in the basement.
In a few sets. I don't have control over my tongue. 10 years strength. Fuck. But it's impossible to, now that you understand what's required, thanks, Charlie. Text. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Charlie sounds fancy, but I'm not gonna say that. The developmental sequence.